Chosen one, there's a reason God is moving you in silence right now. Some people are about to lose all access to you forever. You've felt that subtle shift in the air, the way eyes dart when you enter a room, the sudden distance in conversations that were once effortless. You know the sting of realizing that certain voices no longer hold the power to sway your heart, and that what once brought comfort now feels like a chain you're meant to break. You are not alone in this journey. Many have walked this path before you, guided by a quiet whisper telling them it was time to let go. Now, hidden truths are rising from shadows, ready to shine light on the destiny waiting just beyond the threshold of your old connections. If this message already speaks to your soul, subscribe, like this video, and comment 77 below. They won't see it coming when you vanish from their reach. So stay with me as we uncover why your silence is the most powerful move you can make. Divine separation. They know the hollow ache of sudden silence when invitations stop arriving and familiar voices fall away. In those moments, they wonder if the world has forgotten them, or if they somehow no longer belong. You may recognize that tight knot in your chest when friends drift into distant lives, when colleagues move on without a word, or when the routines you depended on simply dissolve overnight. It feels as though the safety net beneath you has been yanked away, leaving you suspended in uncertainty. Yet this very solitude carries a power you have yet to discover. You are not alone in feeling this shift. Many before you have walked this road and emerged reborn. The importance of this theme cannot be overstated. Divine separation is the sacred soil in which your destiny takes root. As we explore this further, you will learn hidden truths that transform what seems like abandonment into the first step of your greatest elevation. They have felt the sting of each broken thread in their social tapestry, the confusion of doors closing with no explanation, and the quiet sorrow of traditions slipping through their fingers. Perhaps you remember the day a project you poured your heart into was reassigned without notice, or the evening when an online community you helped build turned its back on you. You felt the sharp pain of unreturned messages, the frustration of being left behind as others advanced. Those experiences were not simply personal disappointments, but powerful catalysts, signaling that your current environment could no longer support the growth you were destined for. In those dark hours, it felt like a personal failure, as if you had done something wrong to deserve such isolation. But beneath the weight of rejection lay an invitation to step away from distractions, to shed outdated connections, and to prepare yourself for a calling that requires undivided focus and sacred space. What if every severed tie and quiet sunset was part of a divine choreography, guiding you into a secret chamber of preparation? In Luke 5 verse 16, a phrase few pause to consider, it is written, "But Jesus often withdrew to lonely places and prayed." This was not retreat out of fear, but a deliberate strategy for renewal and clarity before he stepped into his public mission. His times of solitude were the workshop where his vision was sharpened and his purpose aligned with heavenly will. In that same spirit, your periods of isolation are not punishments, but invitations to commune with the source of your destiny. Each silent hour spent away from the crowds is an opportunity to tune into the whispers of guidance and to calibrate your spirit for the extraordinary work ahead. What once felt like exclusion now reveals itself as a prelude to empowerment. Even as they hesitated in the doorway of their own solitude, subtle signals began to surface, signs that transformation was unfolding in shadows. They noticed how their mind cleared of the usual chatter, allowing fresh insights to emerge like wildflowers pushing through cracked pavement. The simplest tasks took on new meaning. A morning walk became a sacred pilgrimage. An unused journal page transformed into a canvas for revelation. Relationships that once felt obligatory dissolved, making space for a deeper connection with their own heart. Doors previously hidden creaked open, A chance encounter, an unexpected opportunity, a renewed passion that knocked at the door of their consciousness. These are not random flickers, but beacons of divine timing, aligning every detail of their journey to guide them toward a purpose only solitude could reveal. Behind this quiet transformation, unseen forces move with precision to clear the path ahead. They may experience uncanny coincidences, a mentor reaching out at just the right moment, resources appearing like gifts from nowhere, or intuitive insights arriving during moments of stillness. These synchronicities are no accident, but the symphony of faith and manifestation working in unison. Their earlier trials were not measures of endurance, but careful preparation, forging the resilience and character needed for the elevation that awaits. Every answered prayer, every serendipitous meeting, every divine nudge confirms that separation was never abandonment, but the clearing of terrain for a mighty ascent. When they recognize this sacred orchestration, their confidence soars, anchored in the certainty that they are not alone, but accompanied by forces greater than they can name. But knowledge alone cannot birth transformation. They must now make a sacred choice to embrace their separation fully. Many recoil from this idea, fearing that withdrawing from familiar circles will leave them vulnerable to loneliness or misunderstanding. They worry that stepping into such profound solitude will expose their doubts and insecurities to a stark, unflinching light. Yet true alignment demands more than recognizing the signs. It calls for wholehearted surrender to the process, relinquishing the comfort of the known and stepping boldly into the unknown. Like the seed that must decay within its shell before it can sprout, they must allow the old self to fall away in order to rise into their full calling. This moment stands as a hinge between the past that shaped them and the future that will carry their legacy. Now that they see the blueprint of divine separation and sense the spiritual currents guiding every fold of their journey, it is time to step forward with courage and conviction. They can begin each day by honoring a period of quiet, whether through dedicated prayer, contemplative walking, or reflective journaling, treating these rituals not as chores, but as vital appointments with destiny. They can set clear boundaries around activities and relationships that no longer fuel their growth, gently closing doors to invite deeper focus. Seeking out mentors or kindred spirits who respect and support this sacred solitude will reinforce their resolve. And as they practice this new rhythm, they reinforce the truth that separation is not an end, but the gateway to their most profound chapter. In the stillness of their separation, they discover a wellspring of clarity, purpose, and power that remains untouched by external noise. They stand poised at the threshold of divine elevation, their hearts tuned to a frequency only solitude can unlock. This is the season they have been crafted for, the time when the world's distractions fall away, revealing the brilliance of their authentic calling. Embrace the moment as the pivot of your story, where every closed door becomes the portal to a destiny too grand for old patterns. A special thanks to our current members who stand as living proof of transformation through silence. And if you feel called to go even deeper, there's a sacred space reserved for our community, a private room where you receive full prophetic messages daily. Join our private membership through the link in the description and walk this path with us. The silent exit. They feel the subtle tension in the air as they prepare to vanish from familiar landscapes, sensing that every shared smile and casual hello may be their last. Perhaps you've sat in a room full of people yet felt utterly alone, aware that the real conversation is happening miles away, in a place you can't yet name. Your heart pounds at the thought of slipping away unnoticed, of avoiding the spectacle of a grand exit that leaves trails of tears and gossip in its wake. You wonder if disappearing quietly could actually be more impactful than any emotional farewell, if silence could carry more weight than a shouted goodbye. You are not alone in this question. Many have walked this path before you, guided by a whisper that true power lies not in noise, but in the hush that follows your steps. This moment matters, because your next move will determine whether you become remembered for drama or respected for discretion. Stay with me, because what you learn here will redefine what it means to leave and to rise. They have known how public departures can become self-inflicted shackles, chained to the very drama they seek to escape. You may recall a time when you tried to explain your reasons to everyone, only to watch friends and colleagues dissect your words in cafes and comment threads, turning your truth into rumors. You've tasted the bitterness of well-wishers whose advice masked selfish motives, using your emotional disclosures as ammunition in their own battles. Those experiences taught you that vulnerability in the wrong arena can bleed into every subsequent relationship, staining your reputation with the hues of past conflicts. You felt the exhaustion of performing authenticity under the harsh lights of scrutiny, wondering if peace was ever possible amid such relentless noise. Yet within that exhaustion lay a crucial insight. Sometimes, the most courageous act is not to speak louder, but to banish the echo entirely. What if every loud announcement you once made was part of a divine lesson, sculpting you for the silent exit that would follow? In Psalm 62 verse 1, a whisper echoes through ancient scripture. My soul waits in silence for God only. From him comes my salvation. This verse reveals that waiting quietly, without the fanfare of public spectacle, is not passivity, but a purposeful stance of trust. Just as a seed remains hidden beneath the soil before it breaks through the surface, your silence is the gestation period for your next level of growth. Your restraint is not a sign of fear or indecision, but of faith in a plan that extends beyond what any audience can comprehend. This quieter, more sacred disengagement aligns you with a rhythm deeper than human applause, one that resonates with the very heartbeat of destiny. Already, they begin to notice subtle ripples of change swirling around their muted departure. They sense doors closing softly, as if on cue, releasing them from obligations that once felt essential. At the same time, windows of opportunity open in unexpected places. A chance text from a mentor, an unplanned podcast mention that validates their work, an invitation to collaborate landing in their inbox like a gift dropped from the sky. In everyday life, they find that conversations shift when they enter a room, not because they louder, but because their absence feels like a question demanding answer. Each gentle pause they create in the flow becomes a vacuum that others rush to fill, revealing just how vital their energy was to the ecosystem they are leaving behind. These are the visible and invisible signs of transformation. The world adjusts its gravity around their silent exodus. This is divine timing weaving its tapestry, aligning events to echo the quiet momentum building within them. Behind this strategic silence, unseen hands are at work to clear obstacles and guide their steps. They may experience chance meetings with people who share exactly the insight they need, as if the universe leverages their absence to redirect them toward higher counsel. They might find that old channels of distraction, endless meetings, habitual social media scrolls, worn-out group chats simply evaporate, making room for focused creativity. Or they feel a sudden surge of clarity in prayer, where questions they've carried for years are answered in soft whispers amid the stillness. These synchronicities are not tests of how long they can endure solitude, but confirmations that their quiet departure is not lonely or forgotten. The same force that orchestrated their trials now choreographs their salvation, proving that faith and manifestation are inseparable partners. Every subtle intervention reinforces the truth that this silent exit was never about losing connection, but about stepping into a connection so profound it needs no applause. Yet knowing these forces are at play means little if they do not fully claim their role in this transformation. Many tremble at the thought of making such a discreet departure, fearing they will become invisible, their work unnoticed, their soul unanchored. They grapple with the dread of stepping into a room where no one asks, "Where have you been?" and the haunting possibility that silence will be mistaken for indifference. But this is the sacred crossroads where fear must yield to faith. True alignment demands that they not merely observe the signs, but embody them fully. Just as the morning star gleams brightest before the sun rises, their truest power shines in the dark hours of deliberate withdrawal. This choice, to vanish without spectacle, is a testament to unwavering trust in a destiny that cannot be broadcast through noise, but only through the resonance of genuine purpose. Now that they recognize the power of a silent exit and sense the divine orchestration behind it, it is time to step into this reality with conviction. They can begin by honoring small rituals, turning off notification alerts, designating periods of uninterrupted focus, and letting go of the compulsion to explain their absence. They can practice the art of strategic retreat, softly closing doors rather than slamming them, offering grace rather than ranting explanations, trusting that those meant to follow will intuitively find their path back. Cultivating a circle of confidants who understand the language of silence will reinforce their resolve, providing support that respects the sanctity of their withdrawal. Each choice to preserve mystery rather than satisfy curiosity deepens their anointing, turning their life into a living parable of strength through solitude. As they move forward, they carry a powerful revelation. The silent exit is not an act of abandonment, but the signature of a soul stepping into its highest self. Their departure leaves a void that speaks louder than any words ever could, compelling onlookers to reckon with the gravity of their influence and the price of taking them for granted. In that void, new alliances form, respect is renewed, and the path ahead opens wider than ever before. The world ceases to measure their worth by volume or visibility, and begins to recognize the depth of their unseen reserves. This is the moment to embrace your quiet power, to let your absence become your loudest statement, and to step into the destiny carved by every choice to leave with dignity. Comment exit if you feel the stirring of this quiet revolution within you. And to every soul who supported with a super thanks, thank you. You are keeping this light alive for others who haven't found it yet. If you feel called to help this mission reach more chosen ones, tap the super thanks button below. Your energy supports these messages and helps them travel further. Your voice matters, your belief matters, and your light is felt here. Lost access. They feel the tremor of absence even before they leave, sensing the hollow echo of their own heartbeat in rooms that once resonated with their energy. You know that pull in your chest when you imagine walking away and leaving familiar faces behind, feeling the sting of knowing they depended on you more than you realized. You wonder if they'll notice your silence, if the emptiness you create will penetrate the veil of their daily routines. It can feel like stepping off a cliff into cold, unknown waters, terrifying and yet strangely liberating. You are not alone in this tension. Many chosen ones have faced the same internal reckoning, caught between loyalty to the past and the call to a destiny that demands your undivided presence. This theme of lost access matters because it reframes separation not as abandonment, but as revelation, a divine unveiling of the true value they once took for granted. Stay close, because what emerges from this departure will surprise you. They have felt the weight of unreturned messages piling up like unread letters in an abandoned mailbox, each one a testament to connections that once seemed unbreakable but now hang by fragile threads. You may recall the sharp disappointment when a trusted confidant failed to show up in your time of need, the confusion of watching alliances shift without warning, or the frustration of pouring your passion into projects that others treated as mere hobbies. Those moments wounded you, convincing you that perhaps you didn't belong or that your gifts were unappreciated. The emotional toll was heavy. Nights spent replaying every interaction, wondering if you had misstepped somewhere along the line, and mornings greeted by the hollow promise of another day spent wondering if your presence truly made a difference. They realize now that these struggles were not random heartaches, but signposts pointing toward a greater awakening. What if every moment of being overlooked was part of a divine master plan to prepare you for a departure so profound it could never be ignored? In Lamentations 1 verse 12, the prophet cries out, "Is it nothing to you, all you who pass by? Look around and see. Is any suffering like my suffering?" This lament is not just sorrow, but a summons to those who stroll past unnoticed to pause, observe, and recognize the weight of a soul in pain. In the same way, your exit is meant to be such a summons, a waking call for those who once took your presence for granted to finally see the work you performed in silence. Your departure is not an accident, but a carefully orchestrated moment in your spiritual preparation, designed to highlight both the depth of your influence and the necessity of divine timing. Already, subtle yet unmistakable signs of transformation ripple through the fabric of their world. They notice empty chairs at familiar tables, unanswered group chat threads, and the sudden lull in weekly catch-ups that once punctuated their calendar. It's as if their absence has created a vacuum that sucks all pretense of stability into its depths, exposing the skeleton of every relationship they left behind. At the same time, they feel a lightness in their spirit, freedom from obligations that no longer serve their growth, release from the energy drains that stifled their creativity. In small, everyday moments, a morning coffee enjoyed in uninterrupted peace, a solitary walk that feels like a pilgrimage, or the thrill of new ideas flowing unimpeded, they recognize a different current at work. These are the visible and invisible signs that divine timing has aligned their departure with a season of breakthrough and renewal. Behind the scenes, spiritual forces gather to ensure their path forward is cleared of obstacles. They experience uncanny coincidences. A mentor reaches out just after their departure. A new opportunity presents itself when old doors close, or an answer lands in their inbox at precisely the moment they decide to step away. These synchronicities are not random events, but divine interventions, confirmations that their struggles were not tests to break them, but preparations for their elevation. Faith and manifestation entwine in this sacred dance, each reinforcing the other until they stand on a foundation unshakable by any external noise. Their calling, once buried beneath layers of obligation and distraction, now rises to the surface like a beacon guiding them toward the next chapter of their purpose. Yet knowing these forces are at play is only the beginning. They must now choose to fully embrace the reality of their lost access. Many resist this step, gripped by the fear of what leaving behind might cost them: acceptance, security, or the comfort of familiarity. They worry that severing ties will leave them isolated, vulnerable to regret and second-guessing. But this is the moment where true alignment demands surrender. Not a half-hearted retreat, but a wholehearted stepping into their destiny. Just as a caterpillar must relinquish its old form to transform into a butterfly, they must let go of attachments that no longer serve the flight they are destined for. This sacred decision marks the boundary between holding on to what was and stepping into everything that will be. Now that they recognize the signs and feel the alignment of divine purpose, it is time to move forward with unwavering conviction. They can begin each day by affirming, "My absence reveals my value," and follow it with an act of intentional disconnection, silencing notifications, declining invitations out of obligation, or ending conversations that drain their spirit. They can cultivate practices that honor their departure, journaling the lessons learned from each lost connection, meditating on gratitude for the space they gain, and seeking out new environments that echo their evolving frequency. Surrounding themselves with a trusted circle who celebrate their courage rather than mourn their loss will reinforce their resolve and provide the support they need to keep rising. As they step into this new season, they carry with them the profound realization that lost access is not a void, but a catalyst for everything they have yet to become. Their departure is the trumpet call announcing their arrival into higher realms of influence and impact. They no longer dwell in the shadows of underestimation, but stand in the light of their own intentionality, watched by those who once took their sparkle for granted. This silence, this sacred void, echoes with the promise of purpose and the roar of destiny fulfilled. Comment lost if you recognize how your energy has been taken for granted, and now claim the freedom to redefine your story. Elevation requires isolation. They know the tremor that runs through their bones when the world seems to pull away, as though the very ground beneath their feet is shifting into unfamiliar territory. It's the thread that ties everything together, giving purpose to each experience, no matter how small or challenging it seemed at the time. With this understanding, you reach a moment of profound self-realization. You see that the only thing holding you back is fear. Fear of stepping fully into who you are. Fear of the unknown. But now that you understand the bigger picture, that fear loses its power. You realize that every doubt, every hesitation, was part of the process that brought you to this moment. You begin to trust yourself, to trust that you are not alone in this. The guidance you've received, whether through intuition, synchronicities, or a deep inner knowing, has always been leading you toward this moment of alignment. Now, it's up to you to accept it and move forward without looking back. As you embrace this new understanding, you feel a renewed sense of empowerment. You are no longer searching for answers outside yourself, because you've found them within. You can walk with confidence, knowing that your path is divinely guided. You can let go of the need to explain or defend your journey. You can simply live it. This is the moment when you fully step into your power, when you claim your identity as a chosen one. You are no longer waiting for permission or validation. You are already equipped with everything you need to fulfill your purpose. You've known it all along, but now you feel it, and that makes all the difference. In the end, this revelation isn't about changing the past. It's about transforming the present. It's about living each day with the knowledge that you are exactly where you need to be. The struggles, the doubts, and even the pain have all served a greater purpose. They've shaped you into someone who can carry this truth forward. Now it's time to take what you've learned and let it guide you. This is your moment. This is your purpose. And it's only the beginning of what's to come. What happens now that this knowledge is being revealed? From the moment this truth emerged, a profound shift began. For so long, you may have felt isolated, burdened by unanswered questions, and a sense that something was missing. But now, as the knowledge that was once hidden comes into the light, you find yourself standing in the middle of a vast, unfolding tapestry. You begin to see that your struggles were not random. They were the chisels that shaped you into someone strong enough to carry this truth. And as this knowledge reveals itself, it's not just the world around you that is changing, it's you. You start to feel a quiet assurance, a growing certainty that everything you've been through had a purpose. And as this awareness deepens, you can't help but feel that something much bigger is at work. For years, you carried the weight of doubt, every rejection, every closed door, every moment when the path seemed unclear. It all felt like evidence that you were on the wrong track. As you move forward, remember that the truth you've uncovered has been with you all along. You were never lost, and you were never forgotten. This revelation is your confirmation that you are exactly where you are meant to be. Subscribe if you haven't yet, like this video, and comment, "I am chosen to let this message anchor in your soul." Share it with someone who needs to hear this. And for full prophetic revelations daily, join the membership via the link in the description. Your spiritual path deserves more than fragments. Step into the full light. You are chosen, you are powerful, and your time is now.